AITA for wearing a wedding dress at a wedding? So my friend 20F and I 19 meters have been friends for a few years, and she recently week ago I got a DM from her for a small costume party she was hosting as a celebration for her getting engaged. I asked if there was a theme and she said there wasn't. I'm a cosplayer, so I had a lot of didn't want to rock up in an anime cosplay, so I thought it would be funny to go to an engagement party as the corpse bride. I arrived at her house yesterday and everything seemed normal. A few people complimented my costume and I was having a lot of 10 minutes. My friend's fiance walked out in a black tuxedo and announced this was actually their wedding. Apparently my friend saw a video of someone doing this and wanted to do the asked us all to go to the backyard for the ceremony to begin. I went straight to him. I asked him if I should quickly go home and change my outfit and that I would get back before it started. He told me it was fine since I didn't know this was the trusted him and followed everyone outside. They got married and everything seemed good. The reception was just in their house again, so everyone just walked back inside and picked up where they left off. I tried talking to my friend and celebrating with her, but she kept making excuses to not talk, to assumed it was just because she was tired from the big day and wanted some alone time. I didn't bother her after that, and the party soon got home and half an hour passed when my phone started getting notifications. I checked and it was my friend texting me. She was cussing me out and telling me how I ruined her wedding. I was really confused and asked what I only made her more angry. She told me it was basic knowledge not to wear a wedding dress to a wedding. I reminded her I had no idea it was a wedding and that I asked her now husband if I should change, and he said it was didn't respond, but I got a text from her husband. He asked why I would tell her. He said it was fine. I told him. He said it was fine. Then he said how I should have changed anyways and it's my fault that the two are now fighting over. Tried texting her that I sorry, and if I had known I wouldn't have done it. I woke up today and saw her and her husband have blocked me on AITA for not changing out of the wedding dress when I found out it was actually a wedding. Edit. I am a guy. I cosplayed the character Emily from The Corpse Bride and had blue paint all over. I'm also Australian and I've never heard a costume party meaning fancy. Everyone was dressed up in funny costumes. Update.
NTA, you were invited to a costume party and wore a costume. Greater than I woke up today and saw her and her husband have blocked me on I think this is a good solution. They are so I'm speechless. Who the invites PPL to a costume party, not mentioning it was actually a wedding, and then blame you for wearing a SMH?
I don't know if people read properly, but I am a cis man.
So you get invited to a costume party and show up in a costume of the corpse. This costume party is a surprise wedding. Seeing a potential issue, you go up to the groom and ask him if you should change. This chuckle says it's fine and you believe him because why would he happens? You get for what you were explicitly told was fine. Groom backpedals to try and cover up his stupidity. Both him and your friend block you. Now you have two fewer idiots in your life to deal. Sorry you got caught up in this mess. Edit. It's backpedal, not backpedal. It's two fewer, not two less.
You might want to fix the custom party typo because it seems like people aren't realizing you wore a costume to a costume party. You were told it was a costume party for engagement celebration. Choosing a corpse bride costume makes sense. You gave the groom a chance to tell you if you needed to change when you found out it was a surprise wedding. It's not your fault he chose to throw you under the bus when the bride got upset. You did nothing wrong. NTA.
I love when I read a headline and instantly form my opinion, but the story completely changes and you're probably better off without people like them in your life. They're both assholes.
NTA, am I losing my mind, or did no one else actually read the whole post? It was a costume engagement party, and TBH, I thought showing up as the corpse's bride was a little funny considering the reason for being there. You even asked the groom if you should quickly change once you found out they were having a surprise wedding now, and he said friend needs to learn that when suddenly dumping a surprise on people like this, sometimes things aren't always perfect 100%. Not your fault.
You wore a costume that included a nod to the apparent point of the party, their engagement to get married. I wouldn't expect most people to get upset by that costume at a costume party. Man shrugging as to them running a bait and switch, then complaining that your costume wasn't appropriate for the wedding you didn't know you were attending asterisk, then complaining that you said that the husband told you not to go home and change just because that's actually what he said, and holy I can say is this couple has 99 problems and you aren't actually one of them. You're just a convenient distraction from yelling at each points if they unblock you in 2 weeks to complain that they haven't received a wedding present from you.
Facts of this are pretty. You were told this is a asterisk costume party, so you wore a. When asked about a theme, you were not given any. They sprung a surprise wedding on. Once you realized this, you asked the groom if you should go home and change, and the groom said had multiple chances to get you to change and they didn't take any of them, so getting mad with you after the fact doesn't make any format. Mobile is hard.
Good lord, this is what you end up with when 20-year-olds get married. NTA.
If I had been that bride, so many of my pictures would have included the corpse bride. Many jokes and puns would have been made. I would have sent someone home to quickly get into corpse groom costume. These people have no chill. NTA.
NTA, you offered to change and was told not to, and it would be fine by the groom, who then backpedaled and retrospectively said you should have got, despite at the time saying you the bride and groom want to play games, they get prizes. I'm assuming they are aware of your passion for cosplay and they assumed you would show up in fancy dress. But you took attention from the
NTA, a male corpse bride for a costume party for an engagement is perfect and right on theme. You had enough foresight to think about changing the costume before the wedding, even though you didn't know there was a wedding. Groom is trying to backpedal that he got the opportunity for you to change. This couple kind of sounds like a nightmare. I think he dodged a bullet with them blocking you. It sounded like a cool costume, and it's not like a male corpse bride is going to upstage the actual bride.
NTA. What did she expected? She wanted a surprise wedding. So she didn't be surprised that people weren't wearing wedding appropriate cloths. It's her fault, sorry. But she couldn't have your fault and you even asked before. So definitely NTA.
They weren't mature enough to get married, lol.
NTA, you say you dressed as a bride, but a corpse bride costume is hardly completing with a real bride. Your friend and her husband sound very daft indeed. Also, this is the risk people take with surprise costume weddings. She have said something when you asked.
No, you're NTA. And ain't no one gonna confuse a corpse bride for a real bride. They need to lighten the up and recognize this is their own doing.
NTA. Having a surprise wedding is an insane thing to do, and having it as a costume party is just asking for something like this to happen. And her husband is now just throwing you under the bus to cover for his decision. Your friend was completely out of line here.
NTA, it was a costume party and you wore a costume. No one had any idea it was a wedding. Even if you went home to change, there is a chance that you could have missed part of the ceremony. Then your friend would have been mad at you about that. That couple seems very immature and unreasonable.
They were well aware that I cosplay, that's why I asked if there was a theme to it.
Trying to wrap my head around the fact your friend got married at 20. NTA. They're obviously way too emotionally immature to handle any real kind of adult responsibility.
NTA, your friend is unrealistic and forcing some crazy on you. I'm sorry, but I'd question my friendship with her. This can't be the only situation where she's displaying this behavior. It's completely irrational, and to add, it was a costume party and a relevant costume. I don't think people commenting that YTA read your post, only the title. From the title, I thought the same. You absolutely were not the here.
They're also a couple of 20-yo getting married, yeah.
Honestly, I missed that originally, cause I tend to gloss over the age, gender part unless it's in. Frankly, you're NTA either way, male or female. Yes, it's common knowledge to not wear a wedding dress to a wedding, but that presumes you know ahead of time it's a wedding. You didn't. Normally that assumption doesn't have to be stated, but most people also don't host surprise. Fact you're a guy and wore a wedding dress just makes it all the more NTA, cause clearly, you understood and accepted the costume party concept, which is what you were invited to. And if one guest's outfit is enough to ruin a wedding, well, there's bigger issues anyway. Signed, bride who had guests who tried to cause a scene with their outfits, and they made sure I knew about their outfit once we all got to the reception, who thinks that their antics were mildly annoying and mostly just made them look dumb.
People see, I wore a wedding dress to a wedding-themed thing, and everything but blind rage goes out the window. You're NTA in my edit for clarity.
I will say surprise wedding is but I'd be hella down for a costume party wedding because regular suits are boring.
Seriously, Op should back away slowly, then run. I thought the corpse bride idea was pretty funny. She needs to find friends with a better sense of humor.
Thank you for seeing my spelling error. Cold sweat smile. I fixed it now. This husband just has no spine to lie about a decision he made in goodwill, not knowing that it upset his now wife, is I dunno. Sad. I don't really understand the mentality behind, you ruined my special day, by wearing a she's your friend. So knowing you're a cosplayer would have given her the best opportunity to give you a fake main theme, so it would fit right in and be fun for she saw you in that costume before the ceremony. Again, she's your friend, not a stranger. She could just have taken you to the side and asked you to reconsider your costume, because there will be a bit of a surprise down. There were probably a lot more opportunities to change the situation, yet she chose to be silently fuming, and inadvertently ruining her own day. By herself.
Same, those AITAs are you're obviously NTA here.
I thought it was funny too, and that's why I chose that costume.
For real, the fact that they both ended up blocking op just tells me that the two are either meant for each other or that this marriage isn't going to make it to their legal drinking ages.
Yep, NTA and op even tried to check with the groom. Who now is lying? I fear for that marriage.
All the YTAs are delusional.
Yes. Also, Oop didn't go as a normal bride, she went as a corpse bride. It's not like she was trying to outshine the bride-to-be by making herself look more attractive.
Lol, why did you wear a wedding dress to my wedding? Because you didn't tell anyone it was a did you tell her I said it was okay? Because you said it was maturity level here is astounding. I give them less than a year.
Haha, especially since op is a man, so the bride was threaded by a man dressed as a dead bride. Imagine how her self-esteem is to be threatened by that. But then I think, oh well, right, she's 20 and still a child playing grown-up, that makes more sense.
Especially when the corpse bride is a 19-year-old guy. Bride needs to get a grip.
Soon to be a couple of 22-year-old getting divorced, optimistically.
Op is a guy.
BTW, your friends did you a favor by blocking time to find better ones. This is a crystal clear case of NTA, Reddit has spoken.